Andrew Adonis, thanks for joining us here at Runways UK. You painted, I suppose, a realistic picture of whether or not the Davis recommendation to really back Heathrow can be delivered. Is it deliverable?
It's deliverable with political will. The question is whether the political will is there, and we won't know until the autumn when the government announces its decision. If the government were to proceed, I think it's deliverable, particularly if the Labour Party were to be supportive, as Harman said last week. But of course it does depend upon a firm lead by the government. It's not going to happen any other way.
But I suppose you, of all people, know the reality that doing nothing is probably the easiest option.
Well, it's perfectly viable for the government to do nothing, and to do nothing under the guise of activity. So what they will do is set up a further review, for example, to look at how issues of noise and pollution are going to be dealt with following the Davis report, and that could easily last a few years with all the consultation that's required. So I think it's very unlikely the government will simply kill the scheme in the autumn, but there's a big difference between them giving consent for it to proceed and them setting in place another process which could last another parliament and could be a lot of long grass.
Because of course many people have said this is great, we've got a decision and we've got a commission to get to a decision, but perhaps it's the answer to the wrong question because it doesn't give us any option over a four-runway airport, it doesn't give us a true global hub. I mean, is it the wrong question?
Well, we have got a true global hub. Heathrow is the most successful hub in Europe and second only to Dubai in terms of passengers. And a third runway is fine for the next generation, and with Crossrail and HS2, Heathrow is about to become even better connected than it is now.
Right.
So I don't see, and Howard Davis makes a very clear and unambiguous recommendation in favour of Heathrow. So what's needed now is for the government to take a decision. If it takes a decision to proceed with the Labour Party in support, I believe it is possible to implement it. But it would involve David Cameron to some extent eating his words. I mean, John Holland Kay said today that it's Heathrow that's U-turned by producing a new scheme.
Which is a great slogan.
He would need to argue convincingly that this is a new scheme and that the assurances on noise and pollution are fundamentally different from those that were in place 5 years ago. I think that's viable politically, but it does require some use of political capital, and he has other things on his plate as well as Heathrow expansion at the moment.
Because as you said, the mayor and the potential front-running Tory candidate, both very, very strongly against the Heathrow option. So it will take quite a lot of political capital to make it happen.
It will take some political capital. It's hard to say how much. Clearly in West London, and with Zach Goldsmith, it's going to be a very problematic decision, and he'll have the existing mayor campaigning against him. But I think the wider political climate recognises the importance of Heathrow to UK PLC, and opinion polls in West London show that the majority of West London residents are in fact supportive of Heathrow expanding. So it's a judgment call, this. What is clear is amongst those who are opposed, and there are a lot of them, it's bitterly controversial, and that includes a lot of senior figures inside the Conservative Party.
So looking wider, I mean, this is a result of a process. Does this process work? Is this the right model for delivering infrastructure of the future? Setting up these kind of commissions?
I'll tell you in 5 years' time when we see whether it's happened or not.
Right. Well, clearly, the Armitt Commission was another way of getting to this.
Yeah, but that's not an offer at the moment.
Right.
So whether having an independent commission rather than the government simply taking a decision is a better way forward.
Okay.
Let's see.
So in 5 years' time, we'll be able to judge it.
Yeah.
Okay. No. Well, thanks. I mean, fundamentally, I suppose, are you? Would you say you're more optimistic than pessimistic about whether or not this goes anywhere?
I would say it's 50-50 at the moment, because it's David Cameron's got a Euro referendum, and he's got a mayoral election next May. So he's got significant problems inside his own party, and whilst I'm sure George Osborne would like to proceed with it, Cameron has never been wildly in favour of Heathrow and aviation in the past anyway. It's not as if it's been a cause of his had to keep it quiet. On the contrary, one of the first things he did when he became leader was to jettison Heathrow. So I would say it's 50-50 at best.
We shall see. Certainly a lot of discussion now. Thanks for joining us, Andrew.
Pleasure.
Thanks.